Morning, this is Kim with www.embody-light.com, and today's video is going to be about the ascension timeline which we are on. We are switching from a third density reality into a fifth density reality. And there was a viewer question about this that I will answer at the end. Anyways, so we are in this time frame, and we all agreed to be here. I know it's hard to believe. And when all is said and done, we will be returning to fifth density unity consciousness, which is our original blueprint. That's how we were created in the beginning. And it's important to know that in a fifth density society, there is no disease, there is no hatred, there is no injustice, there's abundance. We're all following our life purpose. We don't even know how to be out of alignment with Source. In the beginning, we did not know. And I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about what society was like in Atlantis. So, health, abundance, good relationships, all that is our organic blueprint. All else is an illusion, meaning, yes, it does exist in this world, but it's not our organic blueprint. The powers that were do not actually have any power over us. The only thing they could do was inject fear into the society and tell you things are normal, which were not normal, so that we created ourselves. Now, back in the beginning, we lived much longer, so we would actually know. Our memories would return if we had lost our memories about past lives and that kind of thing. The babies born back then came in fully aware of who they were and where they'd been. But now we're under an umbrella of amnesia, you could call it that. So one of the questions that I have, and a lot of people have, is when will this happen? That we switch into a fifth density society. And what I'm told is that the mass consciousness needs to be at 80%. We're currently somewhere between 50 and 60%. So it'll be some time, but maybe not as long as we think. So currently, life is like a game. You come in, you forget who you were, and you start all over from the beginning. And it was not like that in the beginning. We have to first come in and learn who we are not so that we can take back our power and remember who we are. And like I said, in a fifth density society, we don't even know. We don't give our power away. We don't even know how to do that. We don't even know how to be out of alignment with Source. And you see, I got my Superman picture there. When we go to a fifth density society, we will all have our superpowers. So I'm going to start by talking, and I have notes, so I'll be looking down. All disease are artificial intelligence, meaning that it's not natural to our current state. And because of the manipulation in our reality and our bodies being genetically downgraded, we don't have those same abilities we used to have in the beginning. When something comes into your awareness, you either accept it as fact and believe it, or you reject it. Well, when this first started happening, one of the things my guides pointed out to me was that in the beginning, we were very trusting because we never had to worry about anyone. And that was a mistake because there were people coming onto the planet that were not trustworthy. So we were all in flow. None of these things were happening. I'm going to give you an example of how you could create a disease. Like one of the things I know that I had in my life was some dental issues. Well, if I get a spot that was kind of sore or something, I would sit there and fret about it and worry about it, and all that worry actually created the problem that wasn't a problem in the beginning. So that's how we do that. Um, Another thing, example I could use, like for myself, like I have arthritis in my thumbs, and it used to be so much worse. And I just had, if I would have listened to the medical community that there was nothing I could do but treat my symptoms, it wouldn't have gotten better. Because at one point I was having to have steroid injections into 3 spots in each thumb, and I was on prednisone tablets. That's the only way I could deal with the pain and make my hands work. But once I shifted away from that way of thinking and started taking natural supplements and doing things with the muscles and that, because that can put a lot of pressure on your joints. And just having the idea that if my cells regenerate every 10 years, why can't my hands, my joints and my hands regenerate also? So I just started looking at another possibility, and it happened, and we can all do this. But I want to talk, before we get any further, I want to talk a little bit about the Atlantean Society and Lemuria. So, as I said, we were 100% unity consciousness. Now, this was in the beginning of the Atlantean Society, because as I'll tell you in the end, we started having evil and pervasive kind of things start happening there. But this was before the fall of consciousness, which was the flood. We all knew that we were children of Source. We did not even know how to be out of flow with the Creator. The way I found out about all of this was my very best friend, Jay, who was actually my twin flame. Him and I were friends in this lifetime. And I've talked about this before, so if you've heard it, just fast forward or go in the other room. But anyways, so we would do trades. We both worked at a store in Minneapolis. It was a crystal store. And I had an office upstairs. He had an office upstairs. Well, we started doing trades once a week. And so he did myofascial release, which I really needed. And I did hypnotherapy, which I don't know how much he needed that. But that's the trades we would do. Well, after a while, we got kind of bored. So we started doing past life regressions. And we got to a past life scene where it was right at the time of the flood when it was happening. And so Jay in that lifetime had been a woman, and he was actually my aunt. My parents were into some kind of political thing, and one of the things Jay told me was that the mother that I had in that lifetime was not giving me the attention I needed. I was a twin. I had a twin sister. My name was Helene, and my twin sister's name was Kai. When the flood happened and we got away, my twin sister ended up, because we got away by boat, my twin sister ended up falling out and drowning. And one of the first memories that I had as a child was my mother would always insisted that she had to take a nap every day. So the kids, my brother and I, would have to take a nap as well. Well, at beyond the age of 2, I didn't really need a nap anymore. So I'd just stay in my room and I'd actually be meditating, not knowing I was meditating. But I'd always get to this image in my mind, like a dream, but I was awake, where I'm sitting against a palm tree, looking out at the ocean, and I'm waiting for somebody, but I didn't know who it was. Well, I found out years later, after we had gotten away, we were, I don't know if it looked very much like Hawaii in the vision. But what I learned was what I was actually looking for, waiting for, was my sister who had fallen out of the boat. I was very young, like maybe 3. I didn't understand death and drowning and all that. I was waiting for her to come back to us in the waves. That's what I was waiting for. But anyways, back to the story with Jay and what we learned during that past life regression. So he was my aunt. He had a small child who actually we knew in this lifetime. His name in this lifetime is Nathan. I didn't catch what his name was in that lifetime. But it was a little boy, and he actually got away with me and my family. My mother and him were sisters, but he was a woman. So at the scene, what they did was they knocked our moon out of orbit using these large, powerful crystals, which we also use for generators. And they destroyed our moon, and that's what caused the cataclysm, the flood. Jay died in that. Whatever, I don't even recall what his name was. I'm sure it wasn't Jay because he was a female. But the rest of the family, his child, myself, my parents all got away. And like I said, my sister drowned. And so I was asking some questions like what society was like. Well, one of the things was, as I was telling you, we were always in flow and in touch with the creator. Like if we needed something, everything was in alignment that placed that in our reality. Like I could use an example of gathering food. We wanted fish for dinner. Anybody who's ever done any fishing, sometimes you catch them, sometimes you don't. Well, at that time, just with your consciousness and your guidance, you would know exactly where to go to catch the fish, and it just always worked out that way in our favor. Not like it does now. I asked Jay, did we have indoor plumbing? We did, and it was all gravity based. I asked him, do we have lawnmowers? How do we cut our lawn? And what I found out, what was interesting was, and this was with all plants, our consciousness was so merged with the plant kingdom that the grass only grew to the length that we wanted it or needed it. That's how it was. If we wanted to have a child, we had the ability to control, I suppose, ovulation, with our thoughts and our consciousness. So you were not going to just have a child like we do now because you didn't use any form of controlling that. But what did happen was when we wanted to have children, we had to actually petition the soul of the child on the other side to come into life. And then, and only then, would it happen. And it was only granted to people who were ready and capable of raising children, not like it is now. One of the other things Jay told me was like we didn't have formal education per se like we do today. There might have been like apprenticeships and stuff like that if you wanted to learn a trade, like say, and I'm sure there was metalworking people back then, a blacksmith or something. So you wouldn't go to school with that. You would just be an apprentice with somebody who's skilled in that trade. The children were not given formal education either, but they were taught things like how to fall out of a tree without getting hurt. As strange as that sounds, but we gathered food, from the trees, the coconuts, bananas, that kind of thing. And so they had to learn that. I did ask Jay about the food we had. He said it was all like, of course, local stuff, but it was a lot of local fruits, fish, birds, that kind of thing, some vegetables. And it was all just there in abundance when we needed it. And the plants, I don't know if you've ever heard about like heirloom seeds. With heirloom seeds, and my guides tell me this is accurate because I've never actually tried it, but with heirloom seeds, supposedly, if you take them and put them in your mouth before you plant them, a part of your energy goes into that seed and the plant grows with the nourishment that your specific body needs. And it was like that back then too. All of the plants, there was no genetic modification or anything like that. Everything was perfect as the creator intended, and there was no disease. That was foreign. Yes, we had healers back then, but it was for, because people could get injured falling out of a tree or whatever. It was for that. People weren't actually diseased and sick. So back in this fifth density society, once once consciousness fell and many people died, but not everybody, people eventually over time forgot about how we were. And the consciousness became so dense that the people, before we were all connected with the creator and could get downloads and direct communication and that. After that, there was so much density on the planet, it was a lot harder to do. So I'm just looking at my notes. What else did I want to say? They did have some hierarchy, but it was more about function, not about you're special, like we would consider it. Some people would look at it nowadays. Um, and we all just lived in our organic blueprint. But once consciousness fell, we fell out of that. And our genetics were downgraded. So, let's see, I've already talked about all of this. So the next part I want to talk about. So then consciousness fell, obviously, and we were at third density society. Oh, I know the part I wanted to make. Point I wanted to make. One of the things Jay said, you know, in the beginning we were all unity consciousness. Ego wasn't really present, not like it is today. But we started having beings coming around, and obviously they must have been from different planets because there was a male named Azure, and he had blue skin, and he was very evil. He was one of the ones that was manipulating and trying to cause the downfall of Atlantis. So the next part I want to tell you about is there's kind of like a scale of being able to know where you're at as far as if you're in fifth density consciousness or third density consciousness. So the third density and fourth density is the human identity. The fifth density is the human evolution. So the first area is 3D consciousness believes in separation and duality. Fifth density knows we are not separate. We live in unity consciousness. Next is the human identity. Third density would be choice. Where do we make our decisions? What do I invest my energy in? It's like all this searching, trying to fit the pieces all together. But in fifth density consciousness, there are no right or wrong decisions. We take responsibility for all of them, and we see regrets as learning tools. Next would be thought, the information realm. And that's in third density, where we're always seeking validation from other people on what we know. Fifth density, we know our identity is beyond our thoughts or accomplishments. Next, looking for loves outside of ourselves would be a third density. Fifth density, we become the source of love, not the seeker of it. Third density, we're seeking purpose. How valuable are we to the world? We need our soul's purpose. And in fifth density, everything has purpose. Purpose is found from within. Then we have our spiritual identity, which third density would be church, God outside of ourselves, groups, that kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being with like-minded individuals, but it's when you're seeking validation from those individuals. And in fifth density, we feel complete within ourselves. Seventh density, we have a need for growth, wanting more, nothing is good enough. And in fifth density, we pull from within, expanding into ourselves. So, some of the things, I'll give you some examples of people who you'd know are in third density consciousness, and I'm thinking most people watching this are not. One of the things, I'm going to call it enemy patterning, where you set up trying to get everyone to agree with you that you're right, turning against another person, kind of thing. Or you'll see this in workplaces where they're targeting one, and school children, kind of the same thing, where they're targeting one individual. Anybody who does a vision takeover is in third density reality. We've all seen this with children. The child wants to be, say, a musician or something, and the parents are telling them, oh, no, you can't. You'll never make it, blah, 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 blah. And yes, some of that may be true, but where you're trying to persuade another person to see reality your way, and that's not their reality. That is third density manipulation. Any type of control, manipulation, third density. Like I said, seeking a relationship or love. These are people who believe that, okay, once I find that perfect partner, once I meet my twin flame, if I have a twin flame, and if they're alive, my life will be complete. That's not true. You're complete within yourself. Once you animate love, you naturally draw a loving relationship to yourself. People who define themselves by their career or accomplishments, they are definitely in a third density reality. People who believe in hierarchy, that they're more important or less important than someone else, that is a third density consciousness. And then the spiritual identity. I'm a good Lutheran person or Catholic or Islam or whatever. That's bullcrap. And that does not give you any hierarchy over anyone else. It's just your ego making yourself feel that you're okay or that you're important. People who pass judgment on others, that's definitely third density. There is discernment and there is judgment, and they are different. Needing growth, wanting more. I'll be complete once I get that house, that car, that job. All bullcrap. And they speak and believe in lack. Those are some of the ways you can tell. And so I had a question from one of the viewers, and I'm going to answer it now. They wanted to know, they had heard that there's 3 third density planets, including Earth. And they wanted to know what I knew about that. And actually, I don't know too much about that. I know we have Earth. I know that in this ascension cycle, some will not make it and will not ascend this time. And they will be given an opportunity to go to another third density planet for another 26,000 year cycle to complete the ascension process. I also know that there is a hell-like planet, and this is for the people that they'll be going through another 26,000 year cycle. The people that raped, that murdered, that harmed children. Like, I know somebody who's definitely going there. Not a judgment, I just know that's where he's going because of the evil, and the things that he did in this lifetime were absolutely horrendous. So I don't know. So it would be Earth, the hell-like planet, and I'm not sure. I have to ask. For people who just didn't make it, and maybe they weren't necessarily evil, but they were just very unconscious. They probably did do some things that were evil in their life, but not like a person who harms children or women or that kind of thing. So what I want to know is, and I'm just going to ask my pendulum right now, okay, so we have Earth, and then we have the hell-like planet. Those 2 things I know for sure. Is there a third planet where others can go, say they don't need to go to the hell-like planet, but they didn't quite make the ascension? Is there another Earth-like planet that people can go to that's not going to be the hell-like planet? So I'm getting yes, there is. So I'm asking right now, is it true that there's just three with Earth included? I'm getting a yes. And then I want to ask, so it's the Earth, it's the hell-like planet, and then there's another third density planet that people can go to that just didn't quite make it. Okay. So the information I get, those are the three planets. I have no idea where they're located, what they're called. And if you didn't make the ascension cycle this time around, you start all over and enter into another 26,000 year cycles where you'll have a chance to do it all again. So that's all I know about that. And it's just very important that we all start doing our shadow work, our forgiveness work, all of that, because when this shift happens, you're going to be having a really hard time if you have not done your work yet. Also, the other thing is, when this does happen, there's going to be the need for a lot of people that know how to do healing, know spiritual concepts, that can teach and help to heal the others. And so if that's something that appeals to you, maybe not right now, it's not going to be a skill you can use, but it's definitely a skill that's beneficial for humanities moving forward. So that about wraps up what I wanted to talk about today. I have another kind of fun Halloween-y video I'm going to be making. I don't know if I'll do it later today or maybe tomorrow. And I'll release it a little bit later. But that being said, I love you all. Have a blessed day. My name is Kim, and my website is www.embody-light.com. I do readings, I do energy healing, I do hypnotherapy, sound healing, all kinds of things. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, if you would like training in Reiki, I don't quite have it up on my website yet where you can schedule that individually, but you can get your Reiki certification 1 and 2 through me, and I am going to be setting it up individually. I have done it in a group class type setting, and I've done it individually. I found that the individual one was more effective, and I was able to assist the person much more, because if you're going to do Reiki, you're going to want to clear out all of your unconscious issues as well, so that you're not blocking the energy that comes through to the client. So that being said, I love you all. If you have not done so, please subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.